Hey everyone, it's Dinosa. It's pretty late at night. It's around 12:30. I know I'm behind on this, but I'm getting this last season finale of Railroad Explosion. Then basically what we have was the tail end of the whole show on that. The whole show on that consisted of pretty much the group on that going there, and essentially it's the goodbye show. It's the finale, but it picked up basically after Brian and Corey started fighting in the van. Now, the whole episode was really dedicated primarily to Brian and Corey fighting. That's all it was. Fight, fight, fight. That's all they did. And they had some stupid moments like, yo, man, I'm just gonna respect you, man. Yo, dog. It was just kind of like, okay, sure. But there's some interesting things, which actually I think this episode represented a very important lesson, which was lost in this episode. But it could have done wonders if MTV exploited it on there or mentioned it. But the problem is it wouldn't be cool. Um, One of the things here is it talks about how Corey and Brian they're beefing, and basically they fought in the van. The producer stopped the van, got Brian out of the van, left Corey in. They went back to the hotel while they walked around with Brian to cool him down. Uh, and then what happened was Brian came in the middle of the night, and then went to bed. And Corey was just like, I want to beat his ass. I'm going to beat his ass. And you couldn't blame him because he's just tired of taking his garbage. So they wake up in the morning, and Corey tells they finally see each other, and then actually Brian came up to him and said, "Hey, we need to talk about what happened last night." And he says, and Corey makes a statement, "It's taking every ounce of my strength not to beat your ass because you kicked me in the face." It's like, I didn't kick you in the face. I didn't see that in the, when I watched the video, I didn't see it, the actual kick to the face, but that's because you had Tom jumping in trying to pull Corey off, and you had the Brooklyn guy trying to hold them both off. He may have, I'm not 100% sure on that. I'm sorry, it's late. I'm not 100% on that, but if he did, okay, that was cool of him, but if not, here. But at the same time, they maybe should have let the fight go on that to just get it out of their systems. But this is MTV. They got money involved. They don't want to get some $100 million lawsuit. So anyway, what happened is they come to some agreement after some sort of stare down where they're like, where basically the cameras are on them, and I think the producers probably told them behind, if you two act a fool, you're both gone. And Corey's not stupid. Corey's like, it's taking that, don't do this, don't do this. And they shook hands, and then they went their separate ways, which was like, okay, that was pretty strange. That was like a real quick, okay, and then they kind of went boom, and it's like, what the hell? So basically, all the OGs, the original Real World people, went out to brunch, and they all kind of talked. But before this, you had problems with Tom and Kate, saying she lives in Houston, he lives in Dallas, she still wants to date him. He's reluctant, so he finally agrees to try to date her long distance. Will it last? No, probably not. I don't get that vibe where Tom is going to work. The Brooklyn guy, yeah, he hooked up with his girlfriend, and I think that's going to last, which is really cool. Which he finally told her, like, let's be a girlfriend. But so here's the thing: they are all going around trying to figure out how to like kind of end everything. So they go to sailboat trips and other things in the Bay Area, but they run into flies, which can't happen in the San Francisco Bay. But the other thing, interesting enough, is that they go out clubbing, and they go out with clubbing, and of course, what's her name? there's all this go-go dancing and everything, and they're having bottle service, and Brian keeps drinking and drinking and drinking, and I know where MTV is setting this up. Like he drank a lot. So then what happens is that he gets home and he's like drunk out of his mind, talking shit, and then he antagonizes all like the girls and the guys and everything. And it's not Brian, obviously. This is the alcoholic Brian. And what I really think this episode really showed is the effects of alcohol when someone is not just drunk, they're in like super drunk mode. And that's a scary mode. I have been in that mode a couple of times where you are so smashed, you have no comprehension of time, you have no comprehension of most people unless you're really close to them, and you have no comprehension of pain. And that's what, yeah, they make movies like Drunken Master and all that on that, but this is getting along, and I've seen plenty of alcoholics in my time where they get into this free drunk where it's just you cannot reason with this person. The only thing you can do is wait them out. You gotta let the system process the alcohol. You can't sober them up. You can't reason with them. You can't. It's dangerous to even try to beat them up because unless you can overpower them and put them down to the ground, if you try to beat them up, your punches may or may not work. And in some ways, I'm really disappointed MTV did not show this as a danger to alcohol abuse, and what it can do when someone drinks way too much. I think it was a fantastic episode as far as that. I just wish MTV took another step and talked about it. But then, sorry. So, but then, like, Brian, everybody wakes up after this adventurous night, and then Brian comes back, and he apologizes to everyone, telling them he had no idea who he was, he had no idea everything, and even the blonde's like, I had no idea who that was, in that room that day. And that's very similar to what having someone who is an alcoholic and going to those high levels, they're not that person. They're something else. I mean, she made extreme statements like you're possessed by a demon, but there's really no other way to describe it. Because you are literally, your conscience slips away and you go into this different mode where the rules of right and wrong are somewhat blurred. Wow. I'm tired. Sorry about that. And I think it was an excellent episode. But then as we wrap down, everyone starts having like dinners and everything. Everybody's packing. Everybody's saying goodbye. Brian got the kiss off. He was just, there's my cab. He hugged what's her name once and walked out the door. Didn't even say anything to anybody else. But then everyone's like, oh, I love you. Oh, this, all that. We'll try. And then they have the typical showing people like moving forward in their lives and everything. And way to go, real world. On that, but the interesting thing is, like Ariel even said, MTV pulled off the greatest prank in television history. I don't think it was a prank. It was a rating. It was a smart ratings move on that. It wasn't a prank. It was business. And, Ray, she's trying to be a producer. I think she should contact MTV for a job, honestly. They also gave some tips on it, which were kind of funny. He said, hey, guys, when you kiss a girl this way, you're not cheating on your girlfriend. If you kiss a girl this way, when you cross, I think it's like this part of the face. If you kiss them like here, it's not cheating. But if you cross anywhere over here, all of a sudden it's cheating. Something like that. I was kind of like, what? I was too busy laughing about it. But, I just think if you're dating someone and you're serious about someone and they're serious about you and you kiss another girl and you're not kissing them to get rattlesnake poison out of their wound, you got some explaining to do. But, you know, it was a decent end, a Real World. I'm sad kind of how they ended it. I think they really could have gone in further depth and talked about the problems people could have and how they could react to these problems. I'm happy it ended peacefully somewhat. It was a little violent where the producers were they actually threw Brian out of the house because he was so drunk. And the rest of the crew just couldn't live there. So I will say, I never noticed this. There was a producer's phone, which I know like some people call the punk out phone. And there was also many times, I think this is the first time I've ever seen this in Real World, where the producer would show up and talk to people and say, okay, look, we can't be having this. You guys have got to get this stuff together. You can't have this drama. If we're going to have this drama, one of you has to go. So we can move on with the story or whatever, you know? And you didn't really have that. If I look at all the seasons with Jersey Shore, on that, especially like the scene where Sammy smacked Ronnie in the face. Like, I don't know if any of you remember that, where Sammy just went pow right like on the chin and face. And that was big that time. She just wound up on that. But now they're like a serious couple, and now Snooki's having baby number 2. Good job, Snooki. Nothing. I don't know. Last I heard, Pauly D was in Las Vegas, and Mike, I haven't really heard much from, or Vinny either. But it's something that, if you consider the differences of that, this was definitely more of a tense Real World on that. But I still miss the Jersey Shore kind of thing. And the lifestyle thing, and it's sad that storm, that Superstorm Sandy wiped so much of it out and all the after effects. It's really sad that happened, but there was just little differences with Jersey Shore that I liked. However, the one thing the Real World has is bear sex. As Corey said, bear sex on Yelp 4.3. I agree. I'll make it a 4.5. Bear sex was the awesome thing in Real World, the most awesome thing. Whereas the other programs, Jersey Shore, they had T-shirt time and all these catchy phrases. Cabs are here on that, but bear sex will be the phrase from Real World San Francisco. Wow. So anyway, this is Dinosaur. I hope you liked everything, and I'll talk to you all later.